everyone. Welcome to Inside the Game. CC and the Zolz. Charlie Carnaccio along with Rick Zolzer. Lots to talk about today, from arrests and fines, scandals, homecoming price gouging, and a lot more. We are in the 5th episode of Inside the Game. Hopefully you like what we're putting together. We run this in 4 quarters and an overtime period. Each quarter is 3 minutes long, and that's how much time we have to talk about each of these topics. Let's start with the first quarter and Darrelle Revis' arrest 1 week later. Lots of questions, no answers. Start the clock.
Well, here's what I should say about the Revis problem. First and foremost, I don't think this arrest and this dust-up should have anything to do with the Jets' decision to deal with his, let me see, they have a $2 million roster bonus that's due on March 10th. Don't pay it. Move on. It has nothing to do with this. Revis Island was a deserted island for the last season. Yeah. When he's not nicked up and hurt, he's not the same guy. Now, it happens to everybody in football. No matter how great you are, you can't beat Father Time. He gets absolutely everybody. Now, some people avoid it a little longer, but Revis as a cornerback and a top 10 cornerback in this league is done. He's not anymore. So based on the money and the salary cap hit, why would you keep paying this guy that kind of money? So my thing is, before this is even done, it's time to walk away from Revis. Now, with this in mind, he is saying that he's 100% innocent. His lawyer is saying that he's 100% innocent, that he did not initiate anything. It's another one of those things, Charlie, where guys get harassed in public by the public. It happens all the time. I've been there. You know, when the big mouth guy wants, hey, how you doing, man? Sure. Yeah, can you sign my paper? And then when the guy's eating dinner, the guy doesn't. They go, oh, you're a jerk, man. No wonder everybody hates you. So that idiot is always putting pressure on athletes all over the country in all sports. I'm willing to bet that it's closer to Revis' side of the story than the so-called victims, who said they were both knocked unconscious and came to when the cops got there.
And he said he didn't throw a punch.
It's hard to knock someone out when you don't actually physically strike them. Now, is it possible he did throw a punch? Yes. Is it possible that the truth is somewhere in the middle, and I'm going to say leaning towards Revis? Yes. But they're not going to know what's going to take place in this case for quite a while after this roster bonus thing is due. So we're talking weeks before that happens. So the Jets should just say, you know what, Darryl? You go work on your legal problems. We're going to be fine without you. And then maybe re-sign him later and make him a safety. Because he still has the instincts. He's still a great football player. You don't need to be as fast on the middle of the field as you do on the outside of the field.
Things developing.
All you do is hawk to the ball. Right. You help on either side of the field, and you have an angle to get to where the guy is. Yeah. So walk away from Darrelle. He was a great Jet. He was a great cornerback, one of the best of all time. Releasing him has nothing to do with his legal problems. Because remember, he once said he wanted to be the Derek Jeter of football. Yeah. Well. I'm pretty sure no matter what, Derek never put himself in this kind of position.
You got 30 seconds.
No, I'm done.
You're done?
I'm done.
We're going to take that 30 seconds and move it over to the
because it's going to get ugly.
Quarter, because this one might get a little ugly. Baylor coach Kim Mulkey makes some off-the-wall comments and then quickly tries to retract.
Well, I'm not going to talk about the retract because that's not what I do. I'll mention it, or I'll let you mention it at the end, but I want to get the facts out first on what this woman did to anger so many people over the weekend that she had to then backtrack and she had to say something. So she is a very successful coach. She's at the University of Baylor. She won her 500th game. So what invariably happens, it's at home. Everybody wants to have a little love fest, and they hand her the mic and they give her the opportunity to talk. So I'm going to quote what she said in this insensitive, idiotic, uninformed, clueless lecture of the crowd. She said, and I'm quoting, "This is a great institution. The problem that we have at Baylor are no different than the problems at any other school in America, period. Move on. Find another story to write." So let's talk about the story that she doesn't want to talk about anymore. At Baylor, in the football program, at least 24 women were sexually assaulted by 19 different players. They're also being sued by another woman whose lawyers are saying that the evidence is overwhelming and far more than the university already knows about. Now, what the university did was, like at Penn State, they tried to cover it up. They wanted to protect the coach and protect the program. So they actually told women not to testify, to think of the school, to think of the players, to think of their future. You're talking about sexual assault. At no time ever should that be swept under the carpet, because it is a problem at major universities and minor universities all over the country. It's an issue. And to have a woman try to then say that it's not that big a deal, I think is absolutely criminal. Now, let me continue with some of her other comments. She goes, "I work here. My daughter went to school here, and it's the best damn school in America. Well, guess what? They're probably only slightly better than Penn State and the cesspool that school is for what happened there back in the day. But then she says, if you hear someone say, I'll never send my daughter to Baylor, you knock them right in the face.
And that was the comment that you wanted to retract.
She should lose her job. She's an idiot. An absolute idiot for a woman. Because women are all the time being considered second-class citizens in these things. They're being told not to testify. I have 2 daughters. I'll tell you what, the person who would get knocked in the face would be her if it was my daughter.
Yeah, right.
Absolutely insensitive, idiotic, moronic, and I'm sorry to get all worked up right before halftime, but when I read these comments, I couldn't believe my eyes.
Every father in America will agree with you, but consider this. She has a 10-year contract, signs 10 years, $1 million a year, $10 million.
She gets paid.
Contract started in 2007. It's 2017. She's up for renewal of her contract. What's to say that, she's in the heat of the moment, she's in front of this crowd, they're all juiced up, she's all juiced up, and she just figures, I'm going to back the school because I want to get a renewal on my contract. And
at the stake of women?
And says
you throw women under the bus, you have a daughter.
Yeah, no, I know. I'm just saying that in her defense, maybe she gets wrapped up in everything. And
did you see the tape?
I have not.
I saw the tape. Yeah. Nobody was worked up. No. It was a nice moment until she opened her mouth, but it wasn't like the crowd was going crazy. In fact, when someone says something stupid and there's that, people kind of go, wait, what? Did she just say that? And then there was like some applause. But I'm telling you, if her contract isn't indeed up, the university needs to walk away from her. Even though she defended them, she just threw more gas on the fire.
Yeah, it's going to hurt her. I think if she thought it was going to help her, it's definitely going to hurt her. If that was even, her subliminal motivation for saying whatever she said.
I saw her make the comment. I don't think she's that smart to make the combination. Well, I better stick up for the school so I can get another contract. They got rid of Bryles. They got rid of the athletic director. They got rid of the Title IX president. Yep. I mean, they swept a ton of people out the front door. After this, I can't imagine she survives.
Yeah, she's going to get a job.
Nor should she.
She's going to get a job somewhere else anyway, because no matter where she goes, this is a woman who holds the record. She won a state champ. She won a state champ. She won a national championship as a player, as an assistant coach, and as a head coach. It's never happened before.
She'll be at Paducah Community College next year.
Okay, all right. Well, that brings us to halftime.
Told you it was going to be tough.
When we return, Derek Jeter night, and the prices are rising. And Major League Baseball is planning something special for the fans, but will the players like it? We're back after this.
Our valley is our community. It is our neighborhood. When you need professional local news, go to the source that is your go-to news source. We are the pioneers of digital media in the Hudson Valley. HVNN.com. Anywhere, anytime. It's your local news source. Online.
Welcome back to Inside the Game. CC and the Zolz, Charlie Carnaccio, Rick Zolzer. We are now into the third quarter, 3 minutes a quarter, and we're talking about Derek Jeter night. The Zolz feels that the Yankees' greed machine is going to be in full force for this one.
Well, first of all, let me say this up front. I grew up in the Bronx, and I've always loved the Yankees. I am first and foremost a Dodger fan, and the only time I don't root for the Yankees is when they play the Dodgers, and that really hasn't happened very often throughout history in my lifetime. It happened a lot before me when they were the Brooklyn Dodgers, but as an LA Dodger, they have not. So I love the Yankees. I go to more Yankee games than any other sport team in all the other sports. But I don't like Randy Levine. I pretty much said that last week.
Get that.
I think he is the absolute good cop, bad cop to Steinbrenner when he's alive, and now that the smoker and the hair, his 2 sons have done everything they can do to ruin the Yankees. Levine is that bad guy villain face that the Yankees have. So here's why I'm mad again this week. 2 weeks in a row, Andy Levine is getting blasted. We all know that Derek Jeter night, where they're going to retire his number and put him in Monument Park, is going to happen in May. In fact, let me give you the exact date so you can make sure that you're there. May 14th. Now, what the Yankees have done to start my anger is they themselves have taken the face price of tickets And on some tickets throughout the stadium, they've raised them as much as 600%. Now, that's the face value of the ticket, what you pay the Yankees for. It's not what you're paying on the secondary market. That money is going to the Yankees.
For that night?
For that one night.
Okay.
Not for the night before, not for the night after.
We all know how their ticket prices are in general. But
yes, and let's be honest. You got to believe, based on what this New York Yankee team looks like, it's probably going to be the most important regular season game for the Yankees this year as you look at the schedule. That may change if they stay young, healthy, and exuberant and they win a bunch of games, but this looks like it's the most important date on the calendar. Derek has made very clear that he don't hang around. He loved it when he was there. He played hard, gave you everything he had some unbelievable magical moments, but he walked away from the game. He's done. He's not coming back. This is his one time when he's going to come back, and the Yankees are taking advantage of it. You can also, on that particular night, get yourself parking rates being higher than their normal ridiculous rates to park your car there. There are $70 commemorative T-shirts. Dude, I'm talking T-shirts. Right. $70 for a T-shirt.
So what do they go normally? Like 25, 35?
35.
35, right.
Hoodies. $90. Not even, the nice sewn-on letters type hoodies. Yeah. Just a silkscreen hoodie, one color.
But that's the American way. That's capitalism.
It's the Yankee way. The Yankee way. Do you think for a second that if George Steinbrenner was alive, he would have priced those shoes and the seats in the horseshoe at $2,500 a piece? Do you also know that there are nights when you can get those seats for as low as $400? Face value, because the Yankees realize that when they shoot that shot from center field and there's nobody sitting there, they know they've blown it. And the Suns are so greedy, they don't care about the fans, where George, despite the fact that he was a human train wreck, he cared about the fans. If you were a Yankee fan, you knew George was going to do everything he could to make a winning product on the field. Do you believe that about the smoker in the hair?
Yeah.
They don't care at all. So now you can get your $70 T-shirts. So then they went to ESPN and said, hey, this is a Sunday afternoon game. Why don't you flex it? Now, dude, you know what sucks is I don't even know who they're playing that day. But whoever they're playing, it's a Sunday afternoon game, and they've convinced ESPN to put it on Sunday night. So now it's going to be difficult for kids to go because you've been to Yankee night games.
Yeah, right.
And the first pitch is going to be at like 8:11, your standard 3.5-hour game. When are you leaving the Bronx?
Midnight.
So if you have an 8 or a 9-year-old boy, granted there's no school the next day, are you going to be as inclined to take him to that game at the crazy prices that are going to be involved from A to Z?
Well, that's part of it, is the prices. But if I had a young kid and I wanted him to share that moment, I'd take him to the game, go through the ceremonies on the field,
and then bounce.
And then third inning, be out of there.
But when you're paying $600 for a normal $100 seat.
But if I had the money to do that, and I had a kid who I thought it would be impressionable for, I think it's worth it for that memory.
I do stupid stuff like that with my children too. Absolutely. You try to do the right thing, but to me, it's the Yankee greed machine. And it's also, their media message is always very slanted, more so than any other ball club, to them and only them and everybody else. One of the writers in New York, I think it was Phil Mushnick, who is not one of my favorite human beings, called them as Al Jazeera. They called them Al Yankazira because their message is sometimes slanted and always slanted to them.
Okay. That takes care of the third quarter. Let's go to the fourth quarter. Major League Baseball wants fan-friendlier batting practices.
When I read this article, I said to myself, why didn't anybody think of this ahead of time? Because as a person who's gone to a lot of Yankee games, going all the way back to Mickey Mantle, you get there early, and you always get to see the last group that hits, the last 4 guys that hit of the home team. Then the home team's done. They pick up all their stuff, and then the visiting team comes up. Then you get to see Mark Belanger hit. Yippee. Boog Powell is exciting, but Mark Belanger and Kurt Blefary and those guys, right. Who cares? But still a major leaguer, and you bring your glove, and you hope to catch a ball in batting practice. And I literally, in my lifetime, I've caught about 30 balls in my career.
Yeah. Hey, see that? I don't know if you can see that. That's a dislocated pinky that I got standing out in right field when the Yankees were playing Kansas City Royals, and I caught Jamie Quirk's batting practice home run. Comes down, there's like, you know how it is.
Yeah.
Right? A ton of people flock right in. We were right at the porch in right field, and everybody comes crashing in on you, and you don't know what's going on, and we all fell down, and I must have bent my pinky as I went down. I had the ball, And it didn't hit me till about 5 minutes later, and then all of a sudden the pain. I spent the rest of the game with my pinky in like a big cup with ice. But I got a Jamie Quirk ball.
Which is worth less money than the face value of the actual ball. But you have a ball. But here, we just went way off topic, but here's what they're proposing, what Major League Baseball is proposing. Remember they did all these new rules that they wanted to get through and they couldn't because the Players Association wouldn't cooperate, and the only thing they got through is the we're going to walk them, here's no 4 pitches anymore. He wants to make it so the home team hits second and the visitors hit first. That means if you're a Met fan and you want to see David Wright in batting practice, that's pretty much all you're going to see him is in batting practice. You get to go and watch David Wright take batting practice because as the face of the Mets, he's the guy everybody loves, and his injuries have just been cruel on how he's had to deal with his back and his neck and all that other stuff. But home team hitting last. Now, there's a problem. The Players Association doesn't like it because the players don't like it because the players are trained from an early age that you hit first, you go into the clubhouse, you shower, you get something to eat, you put on your uniform, and then you chill. Well, if you're hitting second, you now get to go in, you maybe change into your uniform and grab something, then you got to go right back out to the field. So the Players Association, as of now, are absolutely, positively not in favor of it. But I think the commissioner's going to put a lot of pressure on. And think of the money that the smoker and the hair can make, and that's why they're going to fight for it, because more people are going to show up earlier, and they're going to start buying all the expensive items. You know, that $22 steak sandwich you can get behind home plate at Yankee Stadium? They're all going to get bought, and more is going to get bought, and what they call in baseball is a per cap, how much each person will spend, is going to rise significantly by letting the home team bat second.
I've said this often, but the pricing for a hot dog, for a soda, for whatever it is, you know, the kind of prices that you got to spend just for a hot dog and a soda, forget about beer.
$14.
I know. I mean, you know, and when you have a family, you're talking about, I want.
Because you got to make sure the kids get a beer.
So with that, I want an at-bat.
You want to hit?
If I'm going to pay that money, I want at least one at-bat.
I don't know if you can catch up to the fastball anymore, dude. Those guys throw pretty hard.
Anybody can hit a fastball. It's the curve that's the problem.
Yeah, once they put a bender on it, you're going to have to change your shorts.
All right, that brings us to overtime and the business of sports. And 15 seconds of fame at the ballpark, tapping into the power of the financials of social media to give fans the ultimate selfie.
Well, there's a company called 15SOF that has an app that when you're going to go to a ball game this year, you download the app and you just chill at the game. Maybe you get on the Jumbotron, maybe you don't. Maybe you don't know you're on the Jumbotron. Maybe you don't know you're on the telecast as they go in and out of segues into the ball game. They will use facial recognition software because part of the app is you take a picture, a close-up picture of you. They will use facial recognition software that will then notify you that, yes, you were on in the third inning on the Jumbotron. Here's the picture.
That's amazing.
So they will actually have, like, so you can see the Jumbotron, a picture where it's a wide shot of the Jumbotron with you on it, and then you get to send that to all your friends and families. Now, I assume they're going to capture data and they're going to capture information based on that, and they're going to be able to do what they do. Now, Major League Baseball has gotten to this party late. Apparently, they've already done it in multiple other leagues. They do it in the NHL, the NBA, the NFL, and NCAA. Wow. Major League Baseball finally got on board, but it's still the first. Have you heard of this program before?
I have not heard of it.
Which is a bad job by all those leagues that they didn't tell anybody.
Social media, yeah.
So when baseball says, you know what, here's a great program, we're on board, and it's going to be great for the fans, it's going to be great for the fans because now you're going to drive home from the Bronx or drive home from Queens, and you're going to get home an hour and a half to an hour 45 minutes later. There's going to be an email waiting for you and say, hey, you're on the Jumbotron, and here's the picture.
Yeah, what's going to happen with that picture?
It's going to get everybody in your crew. You're going to put it on Facebook. Yeah. You're going to put it on Twitter. Hell, if you do it here, you're going to put it on this news network.
Right.
Absolutely, it is playing on people's need to be seen and need to share.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea. So now the question is, you know, if you've been to Dutchess Stadium and you've been with the Hudson Valley Renegades, they have a video scoreboard there. You guys going to do this kind of a thing?
You know what? This would be a no-brainer if and when it becomes an app with the minor leagues, because right now it's in an agreement with the major leagues and the other big sports. Will it filter down to the minor leagues? And as soon as it does, I bet you we do it.
And you know it will.
Yes.
It'll filter.
Because right now it's going to have its success this year in the big leagues.
Right.
Once it has its success in the big leagues, they'll probably go to AAA.
Yeah.
And then it'll eventually filter down to us.
All right, so speaking of the Renegades, just to give you a plug, when does the season start?
June 21st, opening night, fireworks.
It's late.
The draft.
Oh, okay.
Yep, the draft is a little later this year, and as you know the process, the kids get drafted. They then all get flown to Tampa Bay. They sign their contracts.
Right.
The management then goes to the war room and has all their names and all the other clubs, and they decide where they're going to send everybody. And literally, those kids get almost like name tags as they're flying to the Hudson Valley.
Yeah.
They have no idea who each other is.
Yeah, Media Day is a frenzy, and it's great because nobody knows who anybody is.
Including them.
Including them, including the staff, everybody. But it's a good time. We'll cover it. We'll have it on HVNN Sports as well. All right, so that will do it for this edition of Inside the Game. Really good topics that you're bringing to the table.
Sorry, Coach.
And,
I'll do better next week.
And no, this was good, and you got a little heated. Even better. We love when the Zolz gets worked up, right? Don't we?
Yes, we do.
Yes, we do.
I made a career of that.
All right, so if you have any comments, any suggestions, topics we should talk about, go down to the bottom of your screen and there's a comment section. Fill it out, send it in to us, and we'll try and incorporate it into our program each week. Also, let us know how we're doing and if there's anything else that you'd like to know about in the world of sports, because this guy knows it all. Anyway, that will do it for this edition of Inside the Game.
I'm having a big one, Elizabeth. I'm coming to join you.
CC and the Zolz, Charlie Carnaccio, Rick Zolzer. We'll see you next time. Pulled out the old red fox.